So, I'm starting to develop a worry from this hell that we have decided the rest of our lives are.
Okay.
Since we started watching these movies every week, 2 weeks ago, I have consumed no other visual media.
God.
I have not watched a movie. I have not watched a television show. It has only been Star Wars.
There is no movies, only Star Wars.
My concern now is that I am entering an abyss of only ever watching Star Wars content for the rest of my life, and I'm very scared.
Sounds like a you problem, though. I mean, it's only one movie a week.
Yeah, but like one movie a week is about the amount of movies that I watch a week.
I don't really watch movies though, but I've watched other stuff. I'm reading the new.
I still got movies I watch.
Yeah, I mean, I have not shared that problem.
Just start watching movies, Josh. I don't know what else to tell you.
I feel alone. Hi, and welcome to Star Wars Every Week Forever. I'm Josh, as always, here with Ben and Chris, and we just got done watching Revenge of the Sith.
The good prequel.
The good prequel. Well, it's all subjective, but definitely based
that's factual.
No, I mean, it's like the second best prequel behind the entirety of the Clone Wars.
Doesn't count, I'm sorry.
I thought you were going to say Attack of the Clones, yeah. I guess those three watches really killed it, huh?
It's still a great movie.
It's a lot of watches. You'll always know what time it is, at least.
Ben, how was your watch?
Losing our fucking minds.
It was alright. You know, Revenge of the Fifth. Not a bad movie.
Chris, how was your watch?
I mean, it was alright. It was it's a perfectly fine movie.
Yeah,
there's not enough sand soliloquies, however, and that's
you say this like it's
a pretty big hit.
I enjoyed this watch. This is the first time that I said I vaguely enjoyed my first watch of The Phantom Menace in the preview podcast. This is the first time that I liked watching this movie more than once in a row. Any of these movies more than once in a row, and it's because Revenge of the Sith actually pretty all right. Good movie. Thanks for coming to the podcast.
I got at least one rant in me. Don't take it away from me.
I have a couple of notes actually for this one. Finally,
I have a decent amount of notes.
I have none.
This is the first time I've taken notes. There's only a couple of them though, so.
I figure I'll start out. I just want to say how fucking frustrating it is that I genuinely really like Anakin and Obi-Wan's friendship in this movie. 'Cause it came way too fucking late.
It did. I mean, just like, I think we said it last episode, where it's like the only real character development they have between each other in, like, up until episode 3 is in the animated cartoon show.
Okay, that brings up a good point. Does anybody know if the Cartoon Network special they did...
That's no longer canon.
That sucks ass.
Wait, like the whole, like, the short movie where they rescue Baby Jabba or whatever?
No, not that.
Oh, no. The original one with,
Oh, the, short 2D animation ones?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, those are no longer canon.
Oh, that sucks.
Which sucks, because that's, like, the only bit of Star Wars media where Grievous was actually menacing.
Okay, so I gotta get into this right now. Pretty much everything wrong with this movie comes in the form of General Grievous.
What did he do to earn that rank? That feels like stolen valor.
So there is a special feature about the creation of General Grievous, and essentially George Lucas. I haven't watched it yet. One of these rotations, I'm going to watch all of the special features along with the movies when I have the fucking time, because that's what I used to do when I was a kid anyway. But I remember very vividly when the script was barely started. George Lucas walked into the concept art room, put the name General Grievous on a board, and then said, do something with this.
So far, so George.
And with that context, it has always been so fucking obvious to me that General Grievous is there to be major merchandise from the planet Walmart. He's just kind of there to be a toy that they can sell. And not only is he just there to be a toy that they can sell, he is fucking pathetic. And anything that involves him in this movie is either boring, pathetic, or entirely derails the rest of the movie.
I will say one thing real quick on the topic of George giving things names and nothing else, because this is the only place I think I'm going to fit this in. Fun little bit of Star Wars trivia. When they were making the Force Unleashed games, right? They were like, George, let's give Starkiller like an official Darth title. And he was like, yeah, that's great. I got 2. And they're like, oh, what are they? And he goes, all right, Darth Insanius. And everyone's like, George, are you okay? And so nobody took it. But he was like, all right, how about this one? Darth Icky. I swear to God, those are the 2.
I don't believe you. I do not believe you. I'm muting my mic so that I can find out if this is true.
This feels like two truths, one lie. Star Wars edition.
I'm telling you, Darth Insanius and Darth Icky. It hurts having this knowledge. It caused me physical pain to possess this knowledge.
Oh my God, he's telling the truth. This just sounds like they walked into George Lucas's office, because back then they were making, I assume they were still making it on the farm. They walked into George's office and he was like, all right, why did you call this meeting? I'm not making Star Wars movies anymore. And I'm working on this movie. It's fairies, I guess, like Hard Rock fairies. And they're like, we need the name of a Sith Lord. And we thought, since, we wanted your stamp on this in some way, you should come up with the name of this Sith Lord. And he was like, Darth Insanius. It's like, do you have a second take, George? I don't fucking know, Darth Icky. And they were like, okay, we'll come up with it ourselves. He's like, all right, I'm busy. I'm making my secondary movie. I got a historically inaccurate World War II plane movie to make. And that was the entire meeting.
In true George fashion, just totally fucking botched it. Just like, yeah, fucking whatever, I don't give a shit.
I don't know if that movie is historically inaccurate. I just assume because it's George Lucas.
I will say there's all of the George Lucas content I've consumed is basically Indiana Jones and Star Wars. And I started watching Willow over the weekend, but I never finished it.
Every other piece of George Lucas media that I've watched has been purely accidental.
I had a coworker tell me, like, oh, you have to watch Willow. And so I started watching Willow this week, and I was like, oh, shit, this is George Lucas.
So General Grievous, to continue my rant.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's okay. I had to know that Darth Icky was a thing, and I'm pretty upset about that.
I have to suffer with this, so do you.
I don't... The opening to this movie is, like, pretty good. Like, it's like, hey, space adventure. We gotta save the head of the Republic. And it's like, stakes are made. There's a tone to it. It feels the most like previous Star Wars, and not that necessarily is always a good thing, but it feels like there's stakes and a goal beyond politics that aren't really very well fleshed out.
Who have to sign this treaty to make our invasion legal.
The problems with the opening are all we have to stick Grievous in here some way related. I have a note here, and I'm really afraid you guys are going to crucify me.
Let's do it.
I would never, in any way, want to harm the wonderfulness of the do it scene. I would never want that to disappear from the world.
No, I'm in for that.
That said,
Oh no, that was the bait.
why the fuck does Anakin Skywalker hear the words "do it" after saying he shouldn't do a thing, and then he does a thing? It is the worst tonal shift in this entire movie.
There's no way. I mean, this argument's been made 1,000 times, and nobody has covered and dissected this moment better than the Game Grumps did with Aaron talking about it. Just fucking, he's sitting there like, should I do it? Do it.
Well,
that's it. And it's like, come on, what the fuck?
I have two theories, one of which just hit my head, and I have to share it because it's like it's like mental vomit. Since it's now canon that Anakin was birthed from Immaculate Conception by Palpatine.
Oh no.
Maybe it was like a Cold War trigger word that it was put into his DNA that if he said do it, he had to kill a guy. It's obviously not true, but it got in my head
I love that theory because it's like a shitty like Bioshock twist with the would you kindly, but instead of like something clever, it's just do it. That's literally his trigger word.
I so badly now wish that fucking that scene was just would you kindly do it.
You're right. Fuck that scene. It should just be would you kindly do it.
Holy fuck.
Yeah, I don't.
On the topic of Grievous, real quick, Josh, I know you haven't watched the show yet, but I have to bring up Clone Wars again, because that show dances around Anakin nearly but never entirely running into Grievous so many fucking times, just so that they could have the one interaction where he's like, "Oh, Grievous, you're shorter than I expected," and I'm like, that one line just screwed over a whole fucking bunch of cool interactions we could have had in that show.
Now I'm more depressed that the cartoon isn't a thing, because that was the only place, as I understand it, where Grievous was super cool.
Yeah, a summary of Clone Wars is Grievous shows up somewhere, does some stuff, and then as soon as Jedi show up, he runs the fuck away.
God, you're never gonna get, like, Grievous hardcore, quiet, fucking murdering people, including Shaggy, inside of the corpse of a
Shaggy.
He was so fucking cool in that cartoon. But that being put aside, the do it scene, I firmly believe the reason why that happens in such a janky way is because they had to kill off Dooku earlier in the movie because they had to have a Grievous subplot.
There's also, in that whole scene, like, Dooku drops a platform on Obi-Wan, and, like, the CGI is so bad. Where, like, it comes down on him, and they slide across the ground. I'm like, alright, well, the way that thing slid his body, his legs would be crushed.
Yeah.
His legs would be entirely fucking destroyed.
All of the CGI in regards to Dooku is bad. God bless Christopher Lee, but they never figured out a way to do his combat where this hyperimposed face did not look fucking awful.
Also,
it was way more obvious in this one than it was in Attack of the Clones.
You weren't paying attention to Attack of the Clones. The only reason why it was better in Attack of the Clones was the room was darker.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. It's easier to do. This one, it's bad. It's so bad.
Like, the one thing that very much bugs me about the prequels, in general, is they could have easily just kept one apprentice through the whole thing.
Yeah.
But each movie, pretty much, we're getting a new primary/secondary, depending on how you look at it, villain.
I'm telling you, it's merchandising.
I'm aware,
Yeah.
but it pisses me off.
Before we get too far away from it, because we've already technically skipped where my only 2 notes in this movie came from.
Oh shit!
We're gonna jump around no matter what, but go ahead.
Yeah, I'm trying for this episode only. I'm trying to keep us kind of chronological.
Good luck.
But I love that this movie opens to give more evidence to my theory that Obi-Wan is just a dog shit starfighter pilot.
Oh hell yes!
And there is a moment in like the opening minutes of this movie where they're flying and there's a couple of clones helping them out, and Anakin's like, "Oh, I'm gonna go help them out real quick," and Obi-Wan's like, "No, leave it. They've got a job to do. So do we." And those clones promptly die, fucking immediately.
Well, let it never be.
Obi-Wan said, "Fuck those clones."
Let it never be said that those clones weren't mistreated. Like, it's... Oh, that's such a... I feel like I have to save the what the fuck was with the clones and why was this so horrifying and why was there essentially a slave army thing. I feel like I have to put that in a barrel and save it for future episodes. Because that is such a topic.
Well, and they go into a lot... once again...
No, go for it.
They go into that a lot more in the Clone Wars.
From what little I've seen, I know that, yeah. I've been told multiple times, based on the 7 or 8 episodes I've seen from the first season, that all the clone episodes are the best episodes.
That's honestly what I go to that show for, because I love seeing like that, the clones in action. The Grand Army of the Republic is probably my favorite like militarized faction in all of Star Wars, thanks to mostly that show and a couple of games.
That fucking happens, and then those buzz droids.
Droids.
Fucking so stupid.
I think fucking okay. So the buzz droids land on Obi-Wan's ship, and they're flying, and he's like, "How do I get rid of these?" And Anakin's like, "I'll help you." He's like, "I don't know how to get rid of these." Anakin, just go for it. Fucking, I'll die or some shit. Like he straight up tells Anakin, just keep going. Because he got a couple of droids on his ship.
The droids land on Obi-Wan's ship, and he immediately accepts death. He gives up immediately. Like, "Oh, Anakin, go on without me." No, Master, I can totally save. No, fuck it, go. Just leave me. It's all over for me.
And then Anakin starts firing lasers at the ship. I like that we're just now recapping the fucking movie.
I'm sorry, but that whole opening, I love it, but it's just
it's so good.
It's so Obi-Wan being incompetent, but doing it with such style.
It's high camp. That opening is like high serial.
I can get behind that.
Immediately after that, they're going for the hangar, and Obi-Wan's like, "Well, the shields are still up," and Anakin's like, "All right, let me take out the shield control, which is situated right next to the door for some reason."
Not even like next to the door on the inside. Like it's just outside. They can just shoot it whenever the fuck they want.
To be honest though, I respect the hell out of this opening for that. They're just kind of like, fuck it. We want to do some dogfighting. We want to do some lightsaber fights. Your balls have been tickled enough with all of the barely commentary on politics of the last 2 movies. Let's just do serial TV bullshit.
But like also, I wish from now on every space battle was just whoever can get that fucking blast door to shut over the other person's hangar first basically wins.
I mean, that's just Star Wars Battlefront 2, the video game.
Yo.
The first video game.
Talk about how big of a dick I have with that game often, but when I do, oh lord.
I wish we weren't in the podcast so that could be the cold open. Chris, is there anything else you want to sneak in here before we get into other stuff?
I mean, that whole opening is so good. Like, the whole thing with them on the elevator, And
Good stuff.
the fucking elevator stops. Anakin's like, well, I'm gonna go out the top. And Obi-Wan's just yelling at R2. I love the cut back and forth between like, well, that droid fucking sucks. And then R2 is just murdering battle droids with fire and a jetpack.
Yeah, I will say there is and it doesn't bother me at this point. I'm sure at some point it will, because we're gonna watch these movies a thousand times. But there is like a jump the shark thing here they do with R2, where you're kind of just sitting there saying, you have that and you have that. Why the fuck haven't you used this stuff before?
Didn't they, like, I don't know if it's like current canon still, but I know in the old canon they like explain that away with like, oh, it was broken beyond repair, and I'm like, so just no one fixed it? Like,
I mean, he's been serving on an immaculately clean ship all the way up to A New Hope. How was it broken beyond repair?
exactly.
Yeah. But no, it doesn't bother me quite yet, but it is very much, why haven't you used this stuff before? And the answer, again, merchandising.
Or like, okay, so in Rebels, there's a I think it's called a C1 series droid. It's a shorter R2 unit basically, called Chopper. There is a whole episode where Chopper has two mismatched like legs because he's all beat up and rugged and shit. And they're on a planet where he sees one of his legs, but he's on a mission, so he can't stop to get it. This motherfucker does everything in his power to get his hands on that fucking leg. And R2's just like, I can't use my jetpacks anymore. Oh, well. Like, it pains me.
God, there's so much. Like, it's just...
It's all, like, washing over you now, isn't it, Chris?
It's washing over me just the more we talk about Clone Wars and Rebels, and, like, I literally... Oh, God. Like, a month before we started recording this fucking podcast, I got to a point with Star Wars where I was so fucking fed up with everything. I remember talking to my dad and being like, no, I think I'm done with Star Wars, except for, like, you know, I'll finish Clone Wars, and, you know, Rebels still cool, and, like, I'll watch next season of Mandalorian. But I think I need to take a break from Star Wars for a while. And then we did this. And now...
I didn't force you, is all I'll say.
You didn't force me, but you knew if I didn't take you up on it, I'd never forgive myself.
I mean, that sounds like a you problem.
Yeah, and now you're stuck watching just Star Wars for the rest of your life, so who's laughing now?
I think now I'm at a weird point in the podcast where I could continue to rant about General Grievous, because I really do think that is like the backbone of the weak backbone of the issues with this movie, or I can talk about other things for the sake of Chris to keep us like in a B, C, D order.
All right. Well, we have to mix it up at some point because we're not allowed to be coherent. So I'm watching episode 3. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna get my computer running. I was gonna like get some stuff going on my computer, and that's when I realized my computer took a shit this week.
Yeah, so I did. While we were trying to figure that out, I did watch Ben watch parts of Revenge of the Sith this week.
So I'm in a Facebook group chat with Josh and a couple of other mutual friends between me and Josh,
including James, friend of the show, who you will hear about in the future.
Indeed.
The I know nothing about Star Wars person who will amuse us endlessly.
I know nothing about any pop franchise at all except Star Trek. But I call up the video chat because one of them is my friend who helps me with all my computer stuff because he's real freaking smart with that stuff. So I'm sitting there, Josh gets on the call, and I go, oh, hold on. I'm about to watch the helicopter fight. And Josh goes, oh, I hate that lightsaber duel so fucking much. It's the part where Obi-Wan's on Utapau and General Grievous is just like spinning.
Okay, Grievous is the most incompetent lightsaber duelist in the entire saga.
I would be too. My trick was just like, I'll try spinning. That's a good trick.
That's too because it's immediately followed, like it's preceded by, oh, Dooku has taught me your Jedi ways, and then it just starts twirling some lightsabers.
Hand. Well, that lasted a while. Like, you see what I mean? like there was no thought put into Grievous beyond let's give him a bunch of lightsabers. Like somebody was sitting there like, what would George like? What's the most marketable? Well, like let's go with like a Vader aesthetic, but like 4 lightsabers to make that like super marketable. And then George was like, this is great. I'm gonna do nothing with it. And that's how Grievous was born.
That's how Grievous was born. Grievous is another one of those characters where I love all of the extended universe stuff about him, but in the movies I'm just kind of he doesn't do anything for me.
Well, the worst part is to me, and I've only really read old canon and a few of the new comics here and there.
I do think most of the old canon carries over for Grievous, but I'm not sure.
Even with that in mind, outside of the TV show, he's kind of shit everywhere. Like, I have not watched Clone Wars. I cannot stress that enough. But he's kind of incompetent everywhere except in that TV show. Like, he's not good at his job. He's just kind of there. He does, like, the odd jobs.
He was, like, praised as a warlord on his home planet or some shit.
I know. It's kind of like... I realize that the aesthetic is cool. But aesthetics aren't fucking everything. He's useless. If your argument is to have him in is that he's like a prototype of Vader, was that really that needed, that you needed a bad interpretation of that? And it's frustrating because every tone shift from Utapau back to Coruscant and then back to Utapau or even to Kashyyyk, which I know a lot of people have a problem with Kashyyyk, but it takes up like 3 minutes of film time. So if you want to cut it out, it's fine. But like Kashyyyk, there's not a lot of that in this movie.
No, I know, but I'm saying people have a problem with it.
Well, because Chewbacca was there, and anytime they put they mess in any way original trilogy characters, people get pissy. Yeah, I don't have a problem with it. Like, it wasn't needed in the movie? No. Did it hurt the movie? No.
No.
But, like, anytime you switch between Utapau and any other part of the movie, it's like a slap across the face in terms of tone.
See,
yeah.
I have another issue with Grievous that I think is...
This is just going to be the Grievous rant episode. I'm okay with it,
Grievous.
too.
See, no, I have a bigger issue with Grievous that I think is pretty major as far as Star Wars canon is concerned.
General.
So he, I don't remember. Grievous is a character I've never given a shit about, so I felt no need to look into further. He was an alien of some sort. I don't know the species, because again, I don't give a fuck about Grievous.
He was a Kali, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was like a tribal warlord, and they went... God, I can't even explain it because I don't know if it's canon anymore, but like the TV
most
show.
of it is, but I'm not sure.
So, Grievous isn't even the only example of it. So they've done it a couple more times now. They did it in that Jedi Fallen Order, where one of the Inquisitors is an alien as well. They're getting away from a big part of the established Star Wars canon, which was always that the Empire was super xenophobic.
Yeah, I'll piggyback off of that. I read a pretty large portion of the new canon Darth Vader books, and they did the same thing in that, where they essentially made it was another version of Grievous, Mon Calamari.
Oh yes.
A bunch of other like proto cyborg Jedi or something along that sort. But it was like a bunch of different aliens, and at the time I couldn't tell if they were trying to get away from the xenophobia for some reason of the Galactic Empire, or if it was just that they were fine with aliens getting tortured. Like, I don't...
That was always a big part of, and I mean, my favorite of the books, which are no longer canon, is the original Thrawn trilogy.
And a lot of the reason why Thrawn was able to work within the Empire literally at all was because his people are super xenophobic as well.
Well, yeah, but that was also a big part of Thrawn's backstory. That's why he was out in like the Outer Rim, essentially.
Yeah.
Because it was like, yeah, we'll let you do this, but also go fuck off over there. Yeah.
You just stay in wild space. We'll just take Thrawn and everyone will be happy.
That's the thing. Like, I don't know. I feel like they're trying to get away from that now, which, fine, but you don't need to make your bad guys likable. You don't need to
especially
redeeming qualities,
Especially when they're named, their primary unit of tactical forces named stormtroopers.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I don't know. They've been doing that. That's one of those things they've been doing lately that.
Like, it just kind of rubs the wrong way.
They did that in that Jedi Fallen Order. Like I said, one of the Inquisitors is an alien of some sort too. Well, what the fuck? Come on. What do you do? What are we doing here?
It's Nazis to be more Nazis, goddamn.
Yes, exactly.
Like, they're literal space Nazis. You shouldn't downplay that in any way, shape, or form, because then the example of, hey, these people are space Nazis gets muddied. I totally get where you're coming from.
I mean, also,
it's just like, I don't know. Well, that's the thing too. It's like, I don't know. Like, in the same movie where you have the Empire taking over Kashyyyk and basically putting all of the Wookiees into slavery, you're trying to kind of downplay that angle of the Empire.
Yeah.
With Grievous, like.
I guess you could make the argument that was done pre, like, the Empire fully taking shape. Like, yeah. I like, the impression is that Grievous is pathetic. Like, literally, his entire presentation is that he's this pathetic creature. And if for some reason he had lived, for some ungodly reason, he probably would have been killed.
Yeah.
Like, there was no place for Grievous in the Empire.
No. They put him in charge of droids he hated just to make him suffer. And Grievous in the old 2D Clone Wars, like, short animated shows, he was, like, so fucking menacing.
Yeah, it was a hell of a presentation. But you want to know why he was so interesting in that? They weren't done developing his character.
Yeah, because that all came out before Episode 3. But, like, I just...
Like, it was made concurrently to Episode 3. That's
why...
Yeah,
it was meant to be the lead up. That's why he coughs, because, is it Mace Windu crushes his chest plate, right?
Yeah. That's also why Shaak Ti is such a major character in the last episode of that, because Shaak Ti is in, like, 1,000 deleted scenes from that opening.
Shaak Ti is also, fun fact, Shaak Ti is the most killed Star Wars character. She dies, I think it's like 4 times. She dies in the deleted scene from Episode 3.
Yeah.
She dies in the Clone Wars. Yoda has a vision, actually, of that scene. In Force Unleashed, she dies, and in Lego Star Wars 1, when Obi-Wan goes to the recording of Anakin killing younglings, instead of him killing younglings, it's just him slicing up Shaak Ti. And I'm like, this character died 4 times for no reason, and I love it.
I appreciate that the first rotation of this fucking Star Wars Every Week Forever podcast had a Lego Star Wars reference.
Dude, I remember being a kid. I was a kid, and I was having a birthday party at, like, one of the like, roller skating rinks. And I went to the gift room for my cake, and I opened up my one gift, and it was Lego Star Wars, and I swear to God, that was the best shit. That was, like, the happiest moment of my fucking 6 years of existence, or however old I was.
The only thing I remember from that fucking Clone Wars show was that really fucking weird bounty hunter they introduced. Was it Dirge?
Oh, it was so... Okay.
Oh, God.
Dirge is fucking cool. I'm sorry. I really loved Dirge. I'm sorry. I think there's a dissenting opinion there, but I will say proudly.
That whole sequence where, like, he's got that legion of IG units that have the lances, and Obi-Wan's fighting them, and he chops them up.
Dirge should have been General Grievous. Fuck it.
Yes. I will sign that petition any fucking day. Oh, God, we got off topic. All right, so the rest of the movie. So far, we've talked about General Grievous and the opening. That's the whole movie so far.
It's a meaty movie. There's a lot to cover. That's the problem.
There is a lot to cover. It's got layers. It's one of the.
And we have the rest of our lives also. We can pick apart
true.
pieces of this movie.
It's one of the prequel. It's the only prequel movie that I feel really effectively pulls off the layered story. Not the best pull off, but like it works.
It pulls it off better than the rest of them.
Before we move on from the whole Grievous thing, I'll just throw out there, I think it was Belated Media who made the suggestion that pulling all of Utapau out of this movie and then just putting something related to Alderaan into it would have just like been the better creative decision, and I kind of am of the opinion of that.
I want to disagree just because I love Utapau, but also
it's aesthetically cool, but it serves no purpose.
And I do also think like we never get a look at Alderaan ever.
No, like it would be super helpful.
Yeah, exactly. To get like a visual. I mean, I know it'd probably just look like a carbon copy of Naboo because like
it's in this movie. Alderaan is in this movie, but it's like 2 shots.
Oh, yes, you're right.
And like, okay, so that's another thing about this movie. This is the only movie in the entire Star Wars franchise where I will fight to the death that an entire subplot that was put into deleted scenes should be in the movie. And that is the entire rebellion undercurrent that is in the deleted scenes of Padme and Bail Organa and Mon Mothma and a couple other senators discussing the state of the Republic and slowly developing the idea of the rebellion as they watch in horror as this happens.
I'll give that credence because I don't think I've seen this deleted scene.
You should watch it.
But this movie has always bugged me in that Bail Organa just kind of shows up and you're supposed to care about him, but that's
the problem.
He was there in episode 2, like a little bit, but he was just kind of like there. But then he shows up when the Jedi Temple's all like fucked, and he's just like, oh no, and I'm just like, who the fuck is this guy? And I mean, like outside, of course, I know it's Bail Organa, super senator dude.
Terrible waste of Jimmy Smits.
Yeah. Well, that's another reason why he puts in a terrific performance in those deleted scenes, and it would make more sense to have him in the Jedi Temple scene if those scenes were in the movie.
Back in the day, back in those times, it was still harder to get longer movies made, I think. If this movie came out today, we would get on DVD a 5.5 hour long version of this movie.
Oh, yeah.
Honestly, I'd watch it too.
Like, those scenes, I would have to go check. Like I said, I'm going to try to watch all the special features for at least one of these watch-throughs. But I think it would add maybe 10 to 12 minutes to the movie.
That's like nothing.
Yeah. Like, it wouldn't hurt it at all. It
would be shorter than Attack the Clones, I believe, then.
I think Last Jedi is the longest of the movies, and I think it would, like, get near Last Jedi then.
Oh, jeez. Okay. I always forget how long episode 3 is.
It's Last Jedi, and then Last Jedi is the longest of the movies, and then Attack of the Clones, and then I think Revenge of the Sith. I would have to double check. In this movie, we hear the term wild bantha chase used, and it upsets me very greatly because banthas are fucking cows.
Yes, banthas are now analogous to geese. That is something I legit made a mental note of and forgot about until you brought it up.
I'm just looking at my notes, and I have like a couple paragraphs on Grievous, and then there's just and then it's just wild bantha chase bothers me. Banthas are cows.
They literally milk them.
Well, I mean, that's what the bantha chase is trying to get the milk. Chase them down for their milk.
Why would you make an argument for that?
Someone chasing down a bantha, like, give me that milk, come here.
Oh god.
On a positive note, I will posit this. Unironically, the tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Wise is my favorite scene in the entire franchise.
Oh! That's another note I had. What the fuck are they watching? What is that bullshit?
They are watching a Mon Calamari opera.
Yeah,
What does that mean?
I think
a Mon Calamari opera ballet type thing.
Yeah, I think what it's supposed to look like is that there's like Mon Calamari dancing inside of that a la Xanarkand Blitzball. Like it's it's pretty poorly presented.
Our references are all over the fucking place tonight.
Totally. I do totally picture them getting the shot together, and they're like, all right. George Lucas is like, all right. So they're sitting in an opera house, and Palpatine looks over at Anakin. He goes, "You ever heard the tragedy?" And then someone raises his hand. He's like, "Wait. What's going on at the opera house?" And George is like, "Fucking what?" And they're like, "What's going? Like, there's gotta be something happening at the opera house. They're not just gonna sit there." He's like, "Oh yeah, you're right. Put some fucking bubbles there. I don't fucking know."
George was too busy getting in his cameo in the Star Wars saga that day because he's outside as a Twi'lek for on that day of shooting.
Doesn't like his whole family get a cameo in this movie?
I think it's just him and his oldest daughter.
Well,
no, his son's in there somewhere.
His oldest daughter is in Attack of the Clones.
Oh
as
yeah.
a Twi'lek in the bar.
Why are they all Twi'leks?
Because he fetishizes Twi'leks.
Then why would he make his daughter... Stop.
This is a road we don't need to go down.
Nope, you're right.
We'll revisit this when we have more disdain for George Lucas in a few months when we realize what we've done to ourselves. Yeah, no, I love rewatching that Opera House scene because it's like he's talking a bunch of shit and never at any point does Anakin look at him and go, "Hey, how the fuck do you know all of this stuff?" Like, at one point he's like, "Well, the Jedi would never tell you this. Here's this." It's like, hold on. Why do you know all of these Jedi?
In this new canon, Palpatine also took Anakin to like what essentially amounts to a galactic strip club when he was like 12. So of course he just believes that like this guy is totally a normal person.
I mean, also, I should have said this the last episode when we were talking about episode 2, because this is something that very much irks me about episode 2. But like, literally, Count Dooku captures Obi-Wan Kenobi and tells him straight up, "Hey, the entire Republic is controlled by a Sith Lord." And Obi-Wan's like, "No, it's not." And then Anakin is just like, "Hey," Palpatine's like, "Hey, here's the tragedy. Darth Plagueis the Wise. It's an old Sith legend. Don't ask how I know it." And Anakin's just like, "Okay." But like, there were so many red flags.
Of course there were.
And all of the Jedi are just like, eh.
We talked about this last episode. They could not accept that anyone in their ranks could be anything less than perfect, and that's why it happened.
But like episode 3, it shines through so fucking vividly.
Again, we are also expecting these red flags to be picked up by the walking red flag that is Anakin.
Okay. I need to talk about Yoda though. This man.
How many more episodes until we get like a soundboard so we can get like Josh's Yoda rant?
I don't think we have the technology for that. I can
build a soundboard.
This is kind of like a shoestrings and bad internet podcast. All being recording through a cup with strings attached to them.
I want to. I hope we make it big, and our broadcasting company, our podcast network, is shoestrings and duct tape.
So Yoda, this motherfucker sits in a room with a guy that is clearly in the middle of a mental breakdown. And he's like, I've been having these terrible dreams about someone dying.
Who totally my pregnant wife.
Knows that this guy has committed genocide, looks him in the eyes, and says, stop worrying about people.
Hold on. Does Yoda know he committed genocide?
Yes! The scene literally after the genocide and Attack of the Clones transitioned to Yoda feeling what's going on and hearing Qui-Gon scream about it.
I know he says he felt a disturb. I don't think he knows clearly, though, does he?
No, he doesn't know clearly, but he has some pretty...
Yoda... We're basically led to believe Yoda knows what's up and is basically, like, either trying to quietly fix things or just not giving enough of a shit to do anything about it.
Yoda's that coworker who's just, like, muttering "oh fuck" under his breath while he's trying to, like, put out a fire. Just praying nobody notices, like, half of the fucking workstation is on fire, and he's just like, shit, oh fuck, oh fuck, oh fuck.
Yoda is so fucking lucky that the moment that Vader was made, that he didn't hunt every edge of the galaxy to make sure he was dead.
Well,
because
he did. That's why he was on fucking Swamp World, hiding in a little hut.
Well, he had the right to hide on a swamp world in a little hut because he realized that the new, like, vice president of evil remembered the time that he looked at him as a child and said, "You're scared, you little bitch." And then as an adult looked at him and said, "Stop worrying about people. People die,
Stop
you
being
dumbass."
scared, you little bitch.
It's so unforgivable the way that Yoda is interpreted in these movies. And then in Empire, he says to Luke, too old for the training, clearly indicating he learned nothing. Nothing.
Okay. In his defense, last time they brought someone in who was too old for training, he killed everybody.
He had 22 years to self-reflect on what happened, and instead of saying, maybe I fucked up, he goes, nah, fuck that kid.
Yeah, I know Yoda's, like, a beloved character, but there's really no point in any of these movies where, I mean, fuck, even when they bring him back in, fucking what, Last Jedi?
Yeah, I mean, like...
like, fuck you, Luke, stop being a bitch.
I like that scene in The Last Jedi because...
coward.
I like that scene in The Last Jedi because it feels like he's at least being humorous while he's trying to teach a lesson. He's, like, not just looking at somebody and saying, no, you're being a bitch, stop it. He's like, I'm trying to teach you a lesson through the act of making you laugh, or at least trying to teach you a lesson through the act of something flashy that you can understand. Whereas in these movies, he's just kind of like seriously looking at people with a straight face and saying, why do you care? Stop caring so much. He's a psychopath. This cult leader is a psychopath. Ugh.
This cult leader is a psychopath. That's going to be my quote from today.
Well, yeah, that's the title of the episode, isn't it?
Oh my god. And then,
like,
there's just so much of this movie to analyze. Jesus Christ.
I do appreciate that the obvious way of going about doing this episode would have been to touch on, all of the big moments. That's not the spirit of this podcast. We're not here to talk about the stuff everyone talks about. Like, oh yeah, of course it's got the best saber duel and all these great moments. No, fuck, Yoda's a dick and Grievous is the worst.
I am a little angry about the best saber duel though. Because there is one part, and you guys know exactly what part I'm talking about, where they're just standing in front of each other, fucking spinning around, and no one even makes contact with anything.
I don't care. I have complained about...
Pisses me off to no fucking end, and I don't know why. It just makes me angry.
I have complained about George Lucas's Shakespearean habits before, but this lightsaber fight is the kind of high camp that I fucking adore. It is so much. It is over the top in a way that was absolutely not only not necessary, but not probably not a good idea. But it's so great.
The thing that excuses it, though, is I feel like it knows it.
Okay. It 100% knows it.
It's just like, fuck it. We always have these long, drawn-out fight scenes. Let's just go all out. Fuck it. Put lava there. I don't give a shit.
There is a hour and like maybe 15 minutes documentary on just putting together one small segment of them crossing the bridge to get to the back area while the plant starts to fall apart. It's like 45 seconds maybe, and that entire documentary going through everything it took to put that scene together is like over an hour long. Oh god. So
Oh, no.
So you know the lava. The lava was practical effects. They made they essentially took shots of an actual volcano erupting, but they also made like a long miniature of it and made a secondary sort of lava thing to like film it so it looked more realistic under them.
I never knew that.
But when they filmed it and then brought it back, they realized that for the sake of the shot, the lava was going in the wrong direction. So if you hyperimposed it on, and it was 100% a fuck up of George's, if you hyperimposed it on the rest of the film, the lava was going backwards and up the waterfall.
No!
Backwards.
No!
So they had to do so much more work. Instead of just redoing the entire miniature, they spent a ridiculous amount of time like switching it around so it looked like it was going in the right order rather than being played backwards. It's just movie magic in the worst way possible. I could be getting aspects wrong, but I know for a fact they fucked that up.
That's just the gist of it. Also, like, so in fucking Rogue One, right? There's no, this is relevant.
Go ahead.
There's a shot or a whole segment. It's not that big, where Director Krennic goes to Darth Vader's castle on fucking Mustafar.
On Mustafar. Yeah.
Did Darth Vader put his castle there, or did the Emperor put his castle there? Because if the Emperor put his castle there, I get it. It makes sense. The Emperor's being a dick, like the Emperor is to Vader.
If you're going by both old canon and the original interpretation of what George wanted the end of Revenge of the Sith to be, Vader has a castle on Mustafar.
Well, no, I know he has it. I'm saying, did Vader have it built, or was it built for him by the Emperor?
Vader had it built. Vader had it built.
Okay, I'm very confused then, because I was always under the assumption the Emperor was like, here's a fucking castle on the place where you lost all your fucking limbs, you piece of shit.
No, it's very clearly a self-hating, I'm going to build a monument to my greatest fuck-up.
There's my favorite part of that, honestly. Like, the whole fight's great. Everything's great. And in the end, when Anakin is on fire, Obi-Wan goes, yeah, that's good enough. And he just leaves.
He doesn't even have the humanity in him to just go, oh, God, oh, shit, and just walk up to him and cut his head off to, like, stop the suffering.
Yes. I get there's a genocide. There's a lot of stuff that goes on that's fucked up. How how is that not one of the most fucked up things a character has done in all of Star Wars? No, like the fact that Obi-Wan just leaves Anakin to burn to death.
It's not even like he does it and then walks away. He does it, looks at him, glares, walks down, picks up the lightsaber, and walks away.
He does a monologue. Which, by the way, great monologue. This entire scene, great. Chris, I thought you were going to say, how is that not just as fucked up? And I was going to say, dude, he killed a bunch of kids and committed a genocide. And
No, it's not. I mean, it's nowhere near as bad as the genocide and, the actual child slaughter, but, it's still,
Annie
it's
2
still pretty
genocides.
fucked up.
It's definitely fucked up. No, I completely agree. I just thought you were going to compare the two, and I was going to say,
No, like,
If everyone
I
just
love,
did that, the galaxy would just be like, I feel like everything would even out much faster.
yeah.
Because, like, at that point, Palpatine is so invested in Anakin as his apprentice. He's just like, shit, gotta find another one now.
Palpatine is the worst fucking Rule of Two Sith Lord ever. He just doesn't care.
Oh, yeah, he's supposed to be, though.
Yeah. The reason why the Rule of Two fails is because he's like, another apprentice. Another apprentice. Another apprentice. Another apprentice. How
love
about
that.
another?
And then
I love that throughout that thought you got more Palpatine.
It was a decision I made.
And then, like, also at the same time, so, like, in Clone Wars, fucking Asajj Ventress is a thing.
Yeah.
Who is like, Dooku's apprentice. And Palpatine's like, yeah, this is great. And then at one point he's just like, this whole you having an apprentice thing, it's not really working out. I need you to get rid of her. And it's like, hold on.
Yeah, and even in outside of Clone Wars, Asajj Ventress was a thing, and like that was super problematic as well. Like it's just like Asajj Ventress always was of the opinion that that her and Dooku were going to take over, and Dooku was like super non-committal on the whole Rule of Two thing, which is fine because Palpatine also was like super non-committal on the Rule of Two thing in and of the fact that he would absolutely kill his apprentice or like throw him to the wolves if he had a better apprentice in mind. That's the entire prequel trilogy.
Welcome to the prequels.
It's like the opposite version of the non-committal to the Rule of Two.
There is so much movie to talk about here.
Yeah,
That's all right. We're gonna be doing this forever.
yeah.
It's really sinking in tonight, Jesus.
I did some math on Friday and it was not good.
Forgot about the math.
So I'm 29. If my math is correct, and it might not be, but if my math is correct, if I live to 100 years old, I tried to do till I lived to 69 because one, that's more realistic, and two, nice. But like, also I wanted. That's only like. Yeah, I didn't think that was fair. So if I live to 100, I will watch each of these movies 616 more times.
And Josh, I'm younger than you.
I know.
And I don't have heart problems.
Oh, so what you're saying is I'm the winner in this case. God, now I feel like it was morally wrong to bring you on. Well, anyway, this clusterfuck of a podcast was Star Wars.
No.
Okay, go ahead.
On that, no, I'm just saying, let's end the podcast on that depressing note of morality.
Oh, God,
morality.
Close here.
It's a depressing podcast.
It's great. We're gonna have fun.
That was Star Wars every week
Come
forever.
back next week when we summon Eldritch Horrors.
I would say, what do we think of the prequels altogether on this watch? But I think we made that abundantly clear, and also our opinions on literally everything else that exists in Star Wars.
Yeah, episode 3
Before
great movie.
Before we started doing this podcast, I thought I really liked Star Wars.
It's okay. We get next is the OT.
I still really love Star Wars. I'm still okay with this.
I love Star Wars. I hate me.
As
Here.
As far as I'm concerned, it's easy peasy from this episode on until. God, we have to watch 9, 1, and 2 in 3 weeks' time.
I feel like now should be where, to us, it gets real, and we can start the death march towards episode 9. Are we gonna do like an extra long episode for our first episode 9 run through?
I don't know. We have a really bad habit of not ending when we should, so probably.
Do we? I never noticed.
Anyway.
I don't want to suffer through episode 9 or thinking about episode 9 or discussing episode 9 any longer than I have to.
I don't want to wait for this podcast to be over. This was Star Wars Every Week Forever. See ya.
Yeah.
Grievous sucks.
And cut.
Oh, God. We barely even talked about the movie that whole time.